Oh, college, the good old days when you, as a full time student, were going to class 12 hours per week and you thought that you didn't have any time in the world. Oh, do I miss those days? Now, technically, I did have 15 hours of class per week. So I was busy. I also had a part time job, also had Army National Guard, all that good stuff. But many of you either are in that spot where you're considering going to college or you've reached that fun time in your life where now you have children that are young adults getting ready to get their degree. And you are starting to understand how complex the student loan landscape is. Well, that's what I want to help you out with today. I want to share with you what are 4 things as a CFP, a certified financial planner, that I am looking at, that I consider when considering a student loan. So we're going to answer what those 4 things are and a whole lot more on the latest Good Financial Sense podcast. This is episode 131. What is going on, Wealth Hacker Nation, GFC fam? It is time to make your life more with your host, as always, Jeff Rose. And today we're talking about student loans. Now, you may think that I am anti-student loans, and that is not entirely true. In fact, I see and I understand that there are certain situations where you have no other choice. And looking back in my own life, if it wasn't for joining the Army National Guard, there was no hope for me to pay for college. It wasn't even in the cards. It wasn't even a consideration. Now, in my own journey, I ended up taking out student loans when I technically didn't need them, but that is a whole other story. That's more of a story talking about taking on debt that you don't need. I've seen several situations where taking out student loans makes a ton of sense. Otherwise, not getting a degree. Now, you might be in that camp where maybe you think that, I don't need to go to college. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And that's something that we've definitely talked about here in the Rose household. But as far as does it make sense to pay for college out of pocket, or, taking out student loans, paying no interest, and then paying it back at your leisure? I mean, there's just a lot of things that just make a whole lot of sense. First, let's talk about how expensive college is. And this is a cost that is not going away anytime soon. So according to, this is educationdata.org. So this average cost of college in the United States is $35,331 per year. This is including books, supplies, daily living expenses. The average cost of college has more than doubled in the 21st century with an annual growth of 6.8%. The average in-state student attending a public 4-year institution spends $25,487 for one academic year. I think that you get the point. You get how expensive college is. It's stupid expensive. It is crazy expensive. So for anybody to try to consider paying for this, out of pocket, it's just unrealistic. It's almost like you're hearing people you should pay cash for a car. You should pay cash for a home. In a perfect scenario, perfect situation, that makes a lot of sense. But in more of these real life situations, it's not even a possibility. Well, then you might be wondering, is it even worth it? Is it worth getting your degree? Is it worth getting that diploma? What does it really do? Well, there are plenty of stats and figures that show that getting a college degree is totally worth it. So this is on the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics website, the BLS.gov. And this is their reporting. It shows how much people make based off of different degrees that you may have. So for example, starting here at the bottom, if you have less than a high school diploma, you're making about $619 per week. High school diploma, $781. Some college no degree, $877. And going up to a bachelor degree, we've got $1,305, up to a doctoral degree of $1,885. But let's just go ahead and just stop at the bachelor's degree at $1,305 per week compared to a high school diploma of $781 per week. So we're talking almost like a $500 per week difference. And that actually comes to $524 a week more with a bachelor's degree. So if we times that by 4, now we've got $2,096 more per month. Multiply that by 12, over $25,000 more per year having a bachelor's degree compared to a diploma. So this is where we can make a pretty good argument that having a bachelor's degree, even an associate's degree, some sort of degree, is going to help you make more. So now talking about student loans, this is where it gets really, really confusing, because I don't want to spend too much talking about the different types of student loans, but for many, like, this is where many soon to be college students, this is where many parents, they just get stuck because there are so many different options. So here's just like a quick example. I'm on studentaid.gov, and I'll have a link to all these in the show notes or the description wherever you are listening or watching this podcast, so that you can check out all these resources. So you've got a direct subsidized loan, you've got a direct unsubsidized loan, you have a direct plus loan, you have a direct consolidated loan, and I'm not sure if a private loan is considered of any of these, but those are also an option as well. So, and if you're also looking for the best student loan options to choose, we've got a nice list here on the blog at goodfinancialsense.com/best student loans. Once again, description for you, or a link in the description for you to check out. But we actually break down all of the best student loan option providers that exist out there, and you can check all those out on the blog, and also a quick little write-up. We have reviews on all these, so you can see exactly if it's going to be a good fit for whatever you need on your student loan needs. All right, so now let's talk about what are the things that I am looking for as a CFP, as someone that is looking at this, when I am looking at student loan options, when I'm looking at somebody that's interested in going to college. What am I looking for as far as student loan considerations? Well, let's go ahead and break those down right now. So the first thing that you want to consider, and this is pretty much a no-brainer, but competitive rates, competitive interest rates. What are they going to charge you on your student loans? You want to look at all the different student loan options. You want to find out what are the current fixed interest rates for federal student loans. And once again, we'll have a blog post, so you can check this out. But if you go to studentaid.gov, that same website, it actually shows you what the current fixed rates are right now. Now, the time of this recording, it is in March of 2022, and based off of what's going on with the COVID-19 Emergency Relief Act, currently there is a suspension of loan payments, a 0% interest rates, and stop collection on defaulted loans. So this is set to potentially expire May the 1st, 2022. Once again, this may get extended. We really don't know. Nobody's going to know till May. But from there, you could also find out that after those rates, you have direct subsidized loans and direct unsubsidized loans. And with these rates, they're currently set at 3.73% on the direct subsidized loans. And direct unsubsidized loans will be set at 5.28%, with direct plus loans at 6.28%, just to kind of give you an idea what rates are. Now, if you're looking at a private student loan, so one company like that is College Ave, and if you want to check out their rates, they either have fixed or variable, and at the variable rates on private student loans, they start at 0.94%, and fixed rates starting at 2.99%. Just to say you don't qualify for one of these other loans and you want to go direct to a place like College Ave student loans, you can go to their website, and they have one of those nice little handy dandy calculators that you can fill out what are you looking for. What is the loan amount that you need? What is the loan term? What is the interest rate that you desire? How many years you have left in school? And what is your monthly payments while you are in school? And just enter in those numbers, and they'll give you a quick calculation to get you an idea how much it's going to cost. And even if it's an option, because sometimes it might sound like a good idea, but when you start running down the numbers, go down that path, like, ooh, this is actually not going to be a good fit. So number one is competitive rates. Number two is looking at flexible loan terms. You want to be flexible. Don't want to be stuck, in some term that you just cannot get out of. So you want to find student loans with a variety of repayment options. While federal student loans come with a standard 10-year repayment plan, you can also choose from federal repayment options that can last for up to 25 or 30 years. Now, if you're considering a private student loan, like with College Ave, they'll let you repay your loans from anywhere from 5 to 15 years, and they also give you the option to defer repayment until after you graduate from school. And like, these are all the different things that you want. Like, you want these type of options. Like, if you're still in school and you can't afford to pay, while you're in school, then if that's an option that you can add on, like, why not? And plus, it just puts less stress on you so that you can actually focus on what's most important at that time, and that is getting your degree and graduating. The third one is a big one, especially if you're going with some sort of student loan company that you don't know a lot about, that just seems they don't present all the information that maybe that you need up front. And you just want to make sure that there are no hidden fees associated with the loan. Now, first things first, if you are taking out a student loan and you assume that there is no fees whatsoever, don't make that mistake, because if you've not heard the expression, there is no free lunch. And the same thing with student loans. There's always going to be some sort of fee. There has to be, right? I mean, they've got to make money some way, somehow. So there has to be some sort of fee. One of the most common fees, for example, you have the federal student loans come with what is called a origination fee that you have to pay for your loan to be funded. These fees are usually a little bit over 1%, but they add the amount of the money you have to pay back. Now, all of this should be included on whatever paperwork that you are filling out. It's no different than if you are doing like a refinance on your home, taking out a mortgage. Before you sign anything, all of this has to be listed. Now, if you are taking out a private student loan, typically they do not have an origination fee, but you should still take time to check. Always check the fine print to make sure that you understand. And this is one of those examples. Now, I will say, like, I'm sure that this was a mistake that, well, I'm sure it's a mistake that I did make whenever I took out my student loans. Do you think that I took the time to actually read the paperwork word for word to see exactly what I was signing? No, I didn't. Now, luckily, I didn't get burned. But once again, if you're taking out a student loan with a private company that maybe you don't know a lot about, and maybe they're trying to throw in some of these hidden fees, and next thing you know, you've signed the dotted line. So there is no getting out of it at that point. You just don't want to do that. So when you get the paperwork, if you know yourself and you know that you're not going to look through it, you're not going to read it, then ask a friend, ask a family member to look over it for you, just to make sure that you don't miss something that is just so glaring obvious. All right, number 3 is hidden fees. And the last thing, think of it like the Amazon review effect, is that when you are considering taking out a student loan, check out their company reviews. Go on Google, do a quick search to see if anything bad comes up. Check out different forums, check out different Facebook groups, see what people are talking about, what they are saying about these student loan companies, and see, is there anything shady, anything dishonest, anything that they're trying to get away with? Did anybody have bad experience with, trying to pay back a loan early, trying to get in contact? Like, how's the customer service? Like, all this stuff. Like, these are all things to look at. If you can't find anything by doing a Google search, which I don't know how you couldn't, but let's just say for whatever reason that you can't, then you can go to the Better Business Bureau, BBB, and they will have everything you need to know about that company, if there's been any complaints filed against them. But like, that's more of like the formal stuff, right? I mean, for somebody to have a horrible experience with a company, a business, and for them to file a complaint, they had a really, really bad experience. I mean, think about the last time that you went to a restaurant and you had a bad experience. You had a bad waiter, bad food. Did you actually take the time to leave a negative review on their Facebook page, or maybe in Google or Yelp or TripAdvisor, wherever you would actually leave that? And I know for me, like, I just haven't taken the time. There have been a few times that I had a really, really bad experience or a good experience, and I took the time to leave that review. But I mean, I've got to have some conviction to do that. A lot of times people aren't going to say anything, like, especially like to the Better Business Bureau, unless it's just a horrific experience. But for like the more mundane day-to-day type stuff, like, that's to me where Google reviews or different forums or different Facebook groups or different chat groups, wherever that may be, online, go to Twitter, and see, like, what are people saying about them? If they are on Twitter, are they active? Are they communicating with their customers? I mean, this is the little things that you can look to see if they truly care and if they're a student loan company worth working with. At the end of the day, taking out a student loan for me is no different than investing. Like, you have to do your homework. You have to put in some work up front, making sure that you understand what you are eventually putting your money into, because you'll be paying it back. But making sure that you do enough research so that you don't find out that you're in something that you're going to end up regretting later on. Like, that does not make good financial sense. That ends up costing you tens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Make sure that you do your homework. And if you don't know, if you start doing your homework and you get lost, I mean, this is when you get a tutor, right? Like, this is when you get help. So there are financial coaches. There are so many resources out there that can help you make sure that you are choosing the best student loan for you. All right, y'all, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.